In contemplating doing a profile on one Beatle instead of the whole motley crew as I did last year, I was influenced by the tragic events in Newtown, Connecticut. So I decided to look at John Lennon, whose view of the world was almost as innocent as a child's, and whose assassination prompted discussion on stricter gun control laws. And as our nation will probably take up the issue of the gun lobby soon to begin Obama's charge for a meaningful conversation on the subject, we mourn today the senseless tragedy in an elementary school at the hands of a deranged young man who carried with him into that school semi-automatic rifles that are used by our soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan. The words to imagine came to mind. John Lennon was born in wartime England, October 9th, 1940, in Liverpool. He was named John Winston Lennon. The Winston part came as a result of honoring Winston Churchill. John Lennon's dad was a merchant seaman and was gone a lot for long periods of time. And when he eventually returned, offering to finally take care of the family, he discovered that his wife, Julia, was pregnant with someone else's child. Life happens. The dad revoked his offer to hang with the family. When John was 5, his dad took him to Blackpool and intended to immigrate with him to New Zealand. But the wife, Julia, followed them, and after a heated argument, the father made the lad choose between his mother and him. Lennon chose his father. And as his mother walked away, he began to cry and followed her. He had no contact with his dad for the next 20 years. Julia, it turned out, proved not to be a fit mother, so John was raised by his aunt, Julia's sister, who lived close by. When he visited his mom, which was often, she usually played a lot of Elvis Presley. There's that guy again, Elvis Presley. She bought John a guitar in 1956. His aunt was not fond of the idea and told John, "You'll never make a living playing the guitar." In 1958, after John's mother was walking home following a visit with John, she was struck by a car and killed. John Lennon definitely had some aptitude as a writer, artist, and musician. But he failed all his O-level exams, and the only place that accepted him after high school was the Liverpool College of Art. He was quite a cut-up and was kicked out of many classes. But when in his life drawing class, he sat on the lap of the nude model, he was expelled. In 1956, Lennon established a band called the Quarrymen, named after the Quarry Bank High School he attended. Paul McCartney was a founding member of the band, although McCartney's father disapproved, claiming that John Lennon would get his boy into trouble. George Harrison joined the band when he was 14 years old. 1963. Appearing at the Royal Variety Show attended by the Queen Mother and other British royalty, John's politics began to kind of ooze out along the edges. He told the audience he needed their help in the next number they were going to perform, so he said, "For the people in the cheaper seats, clap your hands, and the rest of you just rattle your jewelry." I think every true-blooded American knows the rest of John Lennon's story, the success of the Beatles in the 60s, their breakup, journeys with the Maharishi, Yoko Ono, the birth of Sean, retirement, and then stepping out of retirement. Around 10:50 p.m. on December 8, 1980, as Lennon and Yoko Ono returned to their apartment in the Dakota, Mark David Chapman shot Lennon in the back 4 times at the entrance to the building. Lennon was quickly taken to nearby Roosevelt Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Earlier that evening, Lennon autographed a copy of Double Fantasy for Mark Chapman. Ono issued a statement the next day saying, "There is no funeral for John. John loved and prayed for the human race. Please pray the same for him." Ono scattered his ashes in Central Park, where the Strawberry Fields Memorial was later created. John Lennon.